The Knicks were able to pull out another close victory last night against the Miami Heat. But in the process, the Knicks made some significant decisions. They benched Mikal Bridges, and they also removed the player from the rotation who previously had been getting consistent minutes. We're going to break down all of these latest reports today. But before we get started, about 54% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. We are on a mission to try to reach 50,000 subscribers, and we could really use your support. If you enjoy daily Knicks content like this, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because it could really support all the great content that we're creating for you. And now, let's get started. Mikal Bridges is benched. New York removes a player from the rotation. The Knicks continue to keep us on the edge of our seats. A couple of nights ago, the game against the Grizzlies. And then last night, the win against the Miami Heat. The game goes into overtime, but somehow, some way, the Knicks are able to steal that game and get the victory. And I think we all know how we did that. Similar to how the Knicks did it against the Grizzlies. Captain Clutch mode was activated once again. Jalen Brunson, there's no stopping him. If he wants to score, if he wants to go off, he is going to go off, and you're never going to stop him. Go ahead. Throw 2 defenders at him. Throw 3 defenders at him. It is not going to matter because no matter what, he is always going to make the best basketball read and the best basketball play. If he needs to score, he's going to score. If he's going to pass, he's going to pass. But he's going to make the right play. And he did that last night. But he also had some help from OG Anunoby, especially in that second half. I don't know what Tom Thibodeau said to him during halftime, but I wish I could hear it because he turned into a demon. Defensively, he would not let anybody breathe, including Tyler Hero. He terrorized that man. He was getting rebounds, he was getting assists, and he was scoring at will. There were times inside the paint, he would get a rebound, go back up, and score easily. OG Anunoby was a monster. I wish I could be a fly on that wall during halftime just so I could hear what Thibodeau was saying to that team because it was night and day, the type of play we were looking at from that team from the first half to the second half. But we also saw New York make some significant changes as well, too. And one of those changes was to bench Mikal Bridges. Shout out to Steph Bondy with the New York Post for giving us the following information. According to him, the big trade acquisition watched most of the Knicks' biggest comeback from the bench last night. Mikal Bridges sat for all but a few possessions of the fourth quarter and overtime in the Knicks win against the Miami Heat, 116-112, with Tom Thibodeau explaining that he instead used Miles McBride because that lineup was working. Bridges, the starting 2-guard, finished with 28 minutes played, struggling again offensively with just 5 points on 2 of 11 shooting. 2 of 11 shooting. We're going to break down a little bit more on why Mikal was benched, but offensively, if you're not giving anything offensively, if you don't have an impact, it's only a matter of time before you are pulled for somebody else who can give you defense, but also offense. Ring, ring, ring. That's Miles McBride. Bondy continues here by stating, acquired in the summer for 5 first-round picks, Bridges has been benched previously this season in crunch time, most notably in a November victory against the Charlotte Hornets. Bridges was inserted for a few possessions at the end of the fourth quarter and in overtime, whether for defensive purposes or as an inbounder, but not really for much else. According to Tom Thibodeau, he stated the following on why he chose to play Deuce McBride over Mikal Bridges last night. According to Thibs, that's what you love about the team. Whoever's got it going, we're going to ride those guys the most. You know what's funny here? When the Knicks have a player that has the hot hand, oftentimes I don't see Tom Thibodeau going back to that player. Sometimes he leaves that player on the bench. So it's just pretty funny for him to actually say this. Well, let's continue. The most important thing is the team winning. Mikal is fully engaged in the team. He does a lot of the dirty work for us. It's much appreciated. He guarded Tyler Herro about as well as you could. And Herro's an all-star. There's a million screens you have to get through. But there's a group that got going, so we rode them longer. Mikal was terrific with inbounding the ball and the stuff that we needed at the end from him. And also, when you're going offense-defense with Mitch and Mikal Bridges in this situation, help the team in any way you can. We have a full team of guys like that. Some nights, maybe it's someone else's night. That's the guy we have to ride with. If we're putting the team first, that's what you do. Mikal Bridges was benched a few months ago. I believe Steph Bondy mentioned it in November against a win against the Charlotte Hornets. I understand why he was benched during that game. I remember making a video about it. It was because of his impact or lack of impact on offense and on defense. Last night, really the exact same thing. Really, no Knicks player was good defensively in that first half. But Mikal Bridges, he wasn't good in the first half, and that continued in the second half. So Tom Thibodeau had to make a decision. And the decision that he made was pulling Mikal Bridges in favor for Deuce McBride. And Deuce McBride was a little bit better on offense. 4 of 10. Not that much better, but a little bit better. He made the shots when it mattered down the stretch. And if we remember defensively, that late play defensively, that last shot against Tyler Herro, he played great defense on him, locked him up, and made him unable to hit that shot. And that was a main reason why the Knicks won that game. Also because of OG Anunoby, also because of Captain Clutch, Jalen Brunson going off and doing things that at this point, we're just expecting of him. He is absolutely winning the NBA Most Clutch Player Award because there is no player in the NBA doing what Jalen Brunson is doing. But going back to Mikal Bridges and that benching, as I said before, if you're not having an impact on defense and on offense, and another player is outplaying you in Deuce McBride, if you're Tom Thibodeau, what else are you going to do? You have to go with that player. You have to ride that lineup because that lineup is getting you back into the game, got you back into the game, got you the lead, and almost helped you win the game before going to overtime. You have to stick with that lineup, and that's exactly what Tom Thibodeau did. Now, Mikal Bridges did come back into the game late for defensive purposes, and I think he did help with that in a couple of those possessions. Not in the exact same way I want to see Mikal Bridges used, but if you need him in those situations, you have to play him like you need him. I obviously want to see Mikal Bridges have a bigger impact, not only defensively, but also on offense. But one thing I got to say about Mikal, one thing I got to see from him defensively, and I know he's not the same player as OG Anunoby, but really, if you see the first half of OG Anunoby compared to the second half, OG Anunoby flipped the switch. And he was a monster defensively, a monster offensively. He was scoring at will. He was playing aggressive defense, never allowing a player to sleep. Mikal Bridges, he's capable of that. But we don't see him play that level of defense. And we need to see it, especially closing out the rest of the season, going into the postseason. That's the Mikal Bridges that we need. And if Mikal was playing like that, even if his offense didn't look right, he would have never been benched. OG Anunoby claws. He scratches. He fights on every possession, over every screen, trying to get to his man. Mikal Bridges needs to do the same thing. He needs to fight the exact same way. Credit to Mitchell Robinson as well, too. Just coming back from injury. And he's even fighting. He's doing what he needs to do out there, even though he's putting his body on the line. How many times did we see Mitchell Robinson dive to the floor, putting his body on the line, trying to go after loose balls so the Knicks can get an extra possession, getting a second chance opportunities? Credit to Mitchell Robinson, even though limited in time and he wasn't playing the exact minutes he wants to play, he was still good in the minutes that he got. And the more minutes he gets, the better he's going to become over the course of this season and into the postseason for this Knicks team. And I can't wait to see what that Mitchell Robinson paired with this Knicks team looks like. Because in my head, it looks like amazing defense matching amazing offense. And that is going to be the peak Knicks team. And that's the team that I want to see. Mikal Bridges is part of that team, but he has to play better, both offensively and defensively. We also saw the Knicks make another change to the roster by removing a player pretty much from the rotation. And that player is Precious Achiuwa. Ever since Mitchell Robinson came back, Precious Achiuwa has been pushed out of the rotation. The last game against the Grizzlies, he played 4 minutes. And then last night, he was a healthy DNP. So it's clear, moving forward, Achiuwa may not be getting a lot of minutes moving forward with this team. He looks like he's situational at this point. Shout out to the New York Post and ESPN for giving us the following information. As you can see here, the Knicks won the game 116 to 112 to the Miami Heat. And in this game, Achiuwa was a healthy DNP, coach's decision. The players that got minutes off the bench were Mitchell Robinson at 13, Cam Payne at 10 minutes, Miles McBride at 30 minutes, Landry Shamet, who we all thought was going to be benched once Mitchell Robinson returned. In fact, he's getting even more minutes now. He got 14 minutes off the bench last night. And according to Steph Bondy with the New York Post, he states, Mitchell Robinson's return has also pushed Precious Achiuwa out of the rotation. Achiuwa logged his first healthy DNP of the season on Sunday, 2 nights after he totaled 4 minutes against the Memphis Grizzlies. This is a bit of a surprise, but I might understand why they're doing this. It could be that they see Achiuwa as their primary backup for Mitchell Robinson, should anything happen. And since they are so limited and thin at center, they may not want to take the risk or chance with Achiuwa at this point and instead keep him as situational. But really, in my opinion, I disagree with going forward with this type of thinking because Achiuwa, when he gets significant minutes, he is a force. He can play. Defensively, he is good. Offensively, he can move without the ball extremely well, and he can cut very well too. I think the Knicks need to put him back in the rotation, need to have him see consistent minutes, because if you keep him as situational, at this point, it's going to hurt your team, not help us. We need to utilize our depth. Achiuwa is part of that depth. If you want to get a backup player for Mitchell Robinson, go out there right now and sign Moses Brown. He's your backup for Robinson should anything bad go down. 7'2", Moses Brown, he's the backup center that you need, not 6'8" Precious Achiuwa, who really needs to be playing backup for OG Anunoby right now. That's the move I think the Knicks need to make. But at this point in time, they look like they're riding with Mitchell Robinson, and that's their guy moving forward. But Mikal Bridges, we need to see more from him. We need to see more on both ends of the floor because I think if he can give us just a little bit more, increase that intensity, especially on defense, he'll never be benched again. I don't want to see that happen. I'm sure he doesn't want to see that happen again. I'm glad he can make sacrifices for this team, and it doesn't bother him if Miles McBride is in the game and he's not. But you know what? For every single New York Knicks fan that saw this team give up so many picks to get Mikal Bridges on this roster, his level of defense, what he was supposed to bring to this team, the game changer he was supposed to be, we need it. We need to see it. I'm not talking about he has to become an offensive juggernaut. I don't need all of that, but I need that defense. I need that defense that I thought he was going to bring to this team when he was traded here, and I need it at the best level. Because if we can get it like that, I think this Knicks team can go anywhere they want to go. They have the personnel on this team to compete for a championship. We just need to play that way. And the only way to do that is to take a step up. If your current level of play is not enough, then what do? Get better. Take another step forward. We've seen that from a number of players. Now, I need to see it from Mikal Bridges. I never, ever want to see Mikal get benched again. But if he plays like this again, he will be benched again. And I cannot and I will not fault Tom Thibodeau for making this move. Because honestly, him making this move led to us getting this victory. I wish I could say changes are coming, but changes are here. Changes are being made right before our eyes. Achiuwa, not part of the rotation. Mikal getting benched. A message is being sent. When you're out there, play your role to the best of your abilities and do everything possible that you can to win the game. Because if you do that, you'll stay on the floor. If not, you will be benched and others will take your spot. And if it can happen to Mikal, it can happen to anybody. But what about you guys? What do you think about the Knicks making the decision to bench Mikal Bridges and also not play Precious Achiuwa, as he was a healthy DMP last night when the Knicks beat the Miami Heat? Let me know how you feel about this in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.